Good morning, everyone. Today it is time to make a sort of it's not really orchids in bloom, let's say bloom spotlights. There are many orchids in bloom actually, so it will take me a little bit forever to show you each and every one of them. I'm just gonna pass by and show you some that I believe are highlights or that I want to tell you something about, and of course you're gonna have the names on the screen and all of that nice stuff. But yeah, today we're gonna do a little bit of a bloom spotlight for spring. Now we will start on this section of the room because there is somebody there that absolutely delights my morning with its beautiful scents. This is my little working station here. This is where I work, and I can detect the fragrance from here. It is absolutely enchanting this year, and you might have guessed, it is the Phalaenopsis schilleriana, which this year she's doing the splits. We have a flower spike going down and a flower spike going up. When I started to detect like the fragrance, I couldn't really tell who it was. Let me try to make it so you actually see the flowers. There we go. So I couldn't really detect who it actually was because the fragrance was just so intoxicating, and I knew the schilleriana was very fragrant, but I didn't know it could be that strong. This year she's the strongest she's ever been. These little blooms smell like roses or violets, or I don't know. They just smell floral and absolutely beautiful, and the scent is very strong this year. She's outdone herself. The older this orchid gets, the better it actually gets. So every morning for the past like 2 weeks or so, because the blooms have kind of started to open sequentially, I get this wonderful fragrance when I sit and I edit, or just when I have my coffee. I always have my coffee here, even if I don't have to work early in the morning. And the fragrance is absolutely phenomenal. Now, the fragrance kind of goes away after 10 o'clock. It's not so powerful. I find that early morning, even before the grow lights come on, it starts to smell very strongly. So I am just absolutely impressed with her this year, and if I didn't tell you she's worth it, yeah, she is absolutely worth it. I think you will enjoy her very much, as long as you have the patience to wait, for her to bloom every spring. She does take the same care as any other flower shop Phalaenopsis. You can see the leaves are also very ornate, so even if she's not in bloom, you have something very pretty to look at. Very easy to grow, I find. Takes the same care as any other Phalaenopsis. Takes that winter chill or cool down to bloom, and she's absolutely fantastic. Right, another orchid which, again, I have to... there we go. Another orchid which I can detect from where I sit, because I'm like 1 meter away from it this year, is the Renanthera monachica, which I've had for a lot of time. But again, this year she seems to be more fragrant than usual. I don't know, maybe it's the fact that this is a smaller room. I mean, yeah, exactly, that's what it is. I can detect the fragrance better because it's a smaller room. It doesn't like get lost in the room, and I'm very close to it. So the Renanthera monachica this year put on not its best flower spike. We had an issue with the crown that luckily got resolved on its own. So this is the first flower spike after the issue. It is decent, it is nice. She has been better in the past, if you can imagine, but the fragrance is very nice. It's like a sweet apple type of a fragrance. It's not as much floral as the schilleriana is, but I find it to be very enchanting. Both the schilleriana and this one, they don't have a super like powerful and like not pungent, because that sounds bad, but not very like into your face type of a fragrance. You kind of just detect wafts of fragrance as you are next to them. It's not very powerful to kick you out of the room, but it is powerful at the same time. It's just soft, let's put it like that. Right, so these are the two in this corner. Let's go and check out this princess. This is, well, I think I need to rotate this one. Alright, better. So this is the beautiful Frances Fox. Rachara is the old name, and now it's a Myrmecatavola reclassification. You can find it in nurseries in both of these names. This is another quite old at this point orchid in my collection, and she never disappoints. She always blooms every spring. She blooms once a year though, and the orchid is not tiny. This is her. Quite tall, not extremely bushy if you keep her tight. What I usually do when I repot it, I cut away the oldest growth because I want to maintain it, you know, smaller. It doesn't necessarily branch out that easy, so there's no point in keeping the older growth. It's not going to branch from the back and it's just taking space out of the pot. And yeah, I kind of keep it tidy in that way. It's not one of those orchids that I can make a specimen from very comfortably, you know. I'd rather keep other orchids for that. But the blooms, they're absolutely gorgeous, and for those of you who are older on my channel, you already know her. This one smells beautifully at night. She's a Brassavola hybrid. She does have a very Brassavola-y scent, night white flower scent, I would say. There are some flowers that I've encountered that have a very similar fragrance at night, so maybe they do try to attract the same type of pollinators. Well, the ancestors, this is a hybrid. So the Brassavolas, let's say, because that's where she gets the scent. The species Brassavolas, I'm guessing they are trying to attract the same type of moss. Anyway, this one has the same fragrance as one of its parents, and I do believe it is a primary hybrid. I don't know if it's a full primary hybrid, but at least when the Brassavola is concerned, I do believe it's a primary hybrid of a Brassavola and something else. Might be Brassavola crossed a hybrid of a Cattleya. I'm not entirely sure if it's a Brassavola species crossed with a Myrmecatavola species. Anyway, I don't know why I'm getting into these details. Sometimes I'm kind of interested in them. But anyway, another one that I think is really easy to grow in a home. It doesn't fuss about humidity, temperature, all of that stuff. I have her under grow lights. This one doesn't really get any natural sunshine. Whatever bounces from the walls is what she gets in terms of natural light. And there we go. She blooms absolutely fine. There in the back, you might notice some ants. I'm still kind of battling them, but I have a plan, and I think I'm gonna get all of the orchids out, shower them, you know, remove all of the dust, clean the shelves, all of that stuff, and once and for all try to get rid of all of these ants. Goodness, if I leave only a few, they always come back. Anyway, this one is the Cattlianthe Rojo Cardinal bird. Ooh, my memory. I swear, sometimes I remember details no one should, and sometimes I just go into the kitchen wondering, what am I doing there? I have so many things, especially like when I do grocery lists. I'm like, oh, I need to put that on the list, and like 5 minutes later, what did I have to put on the list? So that's why I always like make the list as I have the idea. Anyway, I'm so distracted. I have so many things that I think of in my mind that some information just needs to get flown off, but the name of orchids, it stays in my brain, luckily enough. So the Cattlianthe Rojo is one of those orchids that blooms once a year. It's not fragrant, but it has one of the most beautiful red colors ever. The flowers are kind of tiny. The orchid is kind of tall. It's not necessarily one that I would say it's completely my style, but it's one that I really like for its color. It has the most beautiful fiery red color. Imagine if it would have a fragrance as well, but it does not. Anyway, it's a very reliable bloomer, actually, even if it's only happening in the spring, and it seems to be quite a vigorous orchid. As long as you have the space, she's kind of unruly. Oh my gosh, there are ants everywhere. Let's try to ignore them for now. I will make some time to get rid of them. But anyway, Cattlianthe Rojo is one of those that you have to really like the color or something about it, because it's, you know, it's not the most charming, I would say, of Cattleyas, but the color is absolutely wonderful. Right, so let's get down here now. Oh no, I think I need to rotate this one too. But I keep her like that because, yeah, no, she's very top heavy. So I'm just gonna show you one of the blooms because I cannot rotate her. This is Phalaenopsis, if we can focus, Phalaenopsis Orchid World Bonnie Vasquez. I don't even see the viewfinder anymore. I hope I am focusing on the flower. This is one of my oldest Phalaenopsis, and I almost lost her at some point because I don't know why. She went through a phase where she was really pale, again without particular reasons. I think it was the light. I don't know, this one for me, whenever I put her in bright light, she just gets very pale. She doesn't really like natural light. Can we focus on the flower, camera? Let's do things manually. Kinda. There we go. So I decided this one is never going to get natural light ever again. And ever since I put her under grow lights many years ago, she is finally looking green and luscious. Now, I'm not saying this particular variety is sensitive to too much natural light or to the strength of the sun that I have here in my area of the world. It is just something with this one. It is a very old orchid, and there are some remnants on the leaves of that period. You can see she was so pale. I think the first time I introduced Barinas in my grow rooms many years ago, it was the time that I decided to take this one out of natural light, which was bright shade. It wasn't direct sunshine or anything. And I put her under Barinas, and finally she's doing well, blooming well, looking well. Needs a repot because she's very top heavy, but yeah, she's always blooming in the spring. And this year we have quite a cluster of buds. I just need to repot her so I can enjoy her somewhere where I don't need to lean her against anything. But yeah, she's in bloom. Again, beautiful, beautiful flower. Like nothing I've ever seen with Phalaenopsis. And I do recommend her. But if you have issues with very pale leaves, put her under artificial light. Maybe that will work. But I don't think so. I think it's just an issue with this particular individual. Right, let's now look at the jungle that is the Phalaenopsis shelf. I need to decongest this. It's getting out of hand. This is a little too much. I don't actually get to enjoy anything here because it's too crowded. So I think I'm gonna have to make 2 Phalaenopsis shelves. But let's just take a few spotlights from here. Here is the... Let me adjust the camera. This is the Bronze Maiden. One of its parents is the Phalaenopsis schilleriana, and this one doesn't smell as nice as the schilleriana, but she is absolutely gorgeous. The flowers are gorgeous. The orchid herself is really beautiful. She has very nicely patterned leaves, and yeah, she blooms every year, very reliable bloomer as well, and the older she gets, the more she branches. One of the flower spikes, you can see it's under like leaves and stuff. That's what I'm saying. Look, this flower spike is coming over. That's why I'm saying things are crowded here. I think these guys grew too much to be all of them on the same shelf. I mean, the orchids fit, but when they start to bloom, like this thing happens, and you know, what's going on here? So yeah, the Bronze Maiden is for sure one of the spotlights. Another spotlight is this orchid that I purchased last year, and she's still recovering. She's very weak. I don't know why, but she has the tiniest flowers of life. Look at that. Look how tiny. Very, very nice. And yeah, we have the, oh, what were you? Ludemaniana Phalaenopsis crossed with Mini Mark. There we go. She's flowering, but she's like under leaves. I need to decongest the space. The mini Phalaenopsis are flowering as well. I have some plumeria seedlings here just to try out. And yeah, everybody's flowering. Oh, this year, finally, I didn't show this to you last year. This is the Phalaenopsis. Oh, what's your name? I'm gonna put it on the screen. It's the yellow one. The flowers are finally looking good. Last year she did not look so good, but I can tell you the flowers do not last long on this orchid. I don't know why, I really don't. But it's one of the most beautiful Phalaenopsis I have, so of course I'm gonna be okay and keep her. So yeah, this is the Phalaenopsis shelf, crowded, full of blooms, and I need to do something about it. Now this is a summer blooming Phalaenopsis that decided to bloom now. This is the beautiful Lyndon mix. And she has quite a few glorious flowers and a few more buds to open. She's doing so well here under, like these are Ikea lamps and just some bulbs. They're kind of yellow bulbs. She likes it, what can I say? She's okay with it. This one smells really nice and she looks so good. I like her just as much as I like the Bellina. She's so beautiful, and I wasn't expecting her to be in full bloom right now, but there we have it. It's probably the fact that the day is brighter and longer, and yeah, again, I absolutely recommend this one if you want to get into novelty or summer blooming Phalaenopsis. They like it warm all of the time, And as you can see, you can bloom them even under this lamps, literally. It's not ideal for most plants, and like the Bellina doesn't have a flower spike right now. Given she's at the edge, she doesn't get too much light. It's not necessarily the most ideal light, but you know, they cope with it. I have no choice than to put her here. She likes it though. She's an easy grower. You don't need much resources for her. And down here we have Vittsjo elegante crossed with Cerulean. A little update on it. She's been in bloom for a while. She's now very fragrant. Smells a little like spring flowers, but not what I would call very fragrant, or you should not really purchase it for its fragrance or the hopes that it's fragrant. It's not for me this year. We'll see next year when she will bloom again. This is the first time she blooms. Flower color though, and shape and everything is absolutely amazing. It's a beautiful sweet pink, and I absolutely love those little spots on the petals and sepals, and also the white little section here on the lip. Really nice contrast. Absolutely adore her. Down here we have another beautiful mini Cattleya. We had another one in bloom there that I missed. Cattleya, Tangerine Fire Mini Sun. Alrighty then. So this is Tangerine Fire Mini Sun, a little bit brighter under the Barina lights, but still very, very beautiful. And what I like about this one is that she makes cluster blooms. She's not fragrant, but for a mini Cattleya, she looks very, very nice, and she's very forgiving. She needs a water if I can. Yeah, definitely needs a water. But for now, this is the second time she blooms. I have her for about 2 years already. Second time she blooms, and I'm really happy with it. I think she's gonna be quite a vigorous and strong grower. And yeah, I think that is it for now. We have some buds on the Princess Jackie there, and yeah, that's about it as for highlights, I believe. Well, the Tolumnias still have some blooms. They're kind of going over, they're kind of dry at this point, so I need to clear up a little bit the mess here. But yeah, that is about it for now. These have been the highlights of the room. Thank you so much for watching. I have a few Cattleyas that are first time bloomers. I can see like the buds and the sheets, so those will be exciting to show you at some point, but it's gonna take a while for them to bloom. But for now, yeah, that is about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed hanging out with me a little bit this morning. I'm losing my voice at this point. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'm gonna go back and enjoy my coffee, and I hope you had a good time seeing all of these orchids. And with that said, I'll see you next time. Bye!